Mewtwo farms up, fires off the side strike. This is double resisted, but going to be massive overkill for the low health Greninja. The opponent's final Pokemon is Skeledirge. Ghost type, supposed to counter Psychics. Well, not today, trainer. A Shadow Ball going to vanquish them back to their Pokeball. Welcome back to the channel. I am super hyped because today we're going to be taking a look at a double legacy Shadow Mewtwo, not in the Master League, but in the Open Ultra League. Huge shout out to one of our channel members, Heidi'NPapa, for an incredible battle submission. This is the home of Shadow Pokemon, so we are repping a full Shadow team. Of course, Shadow Mewtwo is incredibly glassy, but we're not running one Shadow Glass Cannon. We've got two, because our lead today is going to be Shadow Dragonite. Rounding the team off, giving us some much needed bulk, is going to be the ever trusted big thick boy Shadow Snorlax, this time running Earthquake. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we see a fairly decent lead with our Shadow Dragonite into Ho-Oh. The issue here is one Dragon Claw won't be lethal, and we absolutely don't fancy tanking a Brave Bird. We fire off the Dragon Claw, forcing an early protection. The opponent farms to 4. They're likely going to go for the Sacred Fire, but Dragonite definitely would not appreciate the damage. We see the shield deployed. On the Sacred Fire, the opponent get that debuff, however undeterred. We farm up, fire off Dragon Claw. Number 2 Dragon Claw actually forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. This is now going to allow Heidi'NPapa the opportunity to shield once farm all the way down. However, what's a much better play is saving a Protect Shield for Mewtwo. We send out Mewtwo, the opponent not wanting to get farmed down. Send out Trevenant, and we respond with the big thick boy Snorlax. Most Snorlaxes would run Body Slam and Superpower, and both our charge moves would be double resisted. However, Heidi'NPapa opting for Earthquake, which does give us some quite good coverage, especially in a meta where Tentacruel is one of the top meta threats. Not only that, in this matchup, we can actually hit for single resisted with the Earthquake. It's much like the Great League. Back in the day when Vigoroth used to run Bulldoze, that would be the move you'd want to throw at Trevenant. Heidi'NPapa actually opts to throw the double resisted Body Slam. I see you, Heidi'NPapa, not wanting to take out Trevenant, instead letting Snorlax go down, coming in with Mewtwo, getting even more farm. In comes Mewtwo. Mewtwo gets the Psycho Cut farm down, but holy cow, them 2 Shadow Claws did a lot. The opponent still has that low health Ho-Oh lurking as a sacrificial swap, and as I say that, the opponent looks to make a catch. Heidi'NPapa says, not today, trainer. Psycho Cut farms down. Back out comes the big fat Walrus, but is the Walrus fat enough to survive 2 side strikes? The answer is most certainly going to be a big fat no, and it's going to be Mewtwo sweeping the back line. GG's, and thanks for playing. We're only one battle in, and you can already see when shields are down, Shadow Mewtwo goes to town. Holy, what a dreadful lead. We see the instant pivot into the big thick boy, drawing out Venusaur. This is not a matchup we're probably going to win. However, if we can get ourselves shield advantage, Mewtwo might be able to do something in the back. We instantly see the shield deployed, and I think that's pretty much best case scenario. Heidi'NPapa very unlikely to shield Snorlax. Everyone that uses a Shadow team and uses Snorlax pretty much uses the damage sponge. Snorlax tanks the Frenzy Plant, returns fire with the Body Slam. Holy, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. My god, this is looking fantastic. Venusaur even dumps energy. I think the opponent definitely could have Vine Whip farm down, but we're not complaining. Heidi'NPapa can now send out Dragonite, commit to the Dragon Breath farm down. We're going to tank a Sludge Bomb, but this Dragonite is pretty much dead weight. As we know, they've got Lapras in the lead. The opponent fire off the Sludge Bomb. Ouch, that hurt. We actually see the aggressive pivot into Mewtwo, getting head and energy. Mewtwo gets the Psycho Cut farm down. The opponent opts to send out Charizard, interestingly running Fire Spin, which did get buffed this season, so is somewhat more viable. However, I would still recommend Wing Attack. Side Strike lands for absolutely absurd damage. Heidi'NPapa going to be able to shield up the incoming Dragon Claw and once again commit to the Psycho Cut farm down. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down, pivot back out into Lapras, and Lapras is going to be greeted with a Side Strike. Lapras incredibly thick, but holy crap, Mewtwo does not mess about. That was ridiculous damage. Heidi'NPapa actually choosing to let Mewtwo go down. We can send back out Dragonite. Dragonite just about going to reach the Superpower. Superpower is going to vanquish Lapras. Back to their Pokeball. Does Dragonite have enough health to farm down Charizard? Yes, we do. And we take that game. In the next battle, we see another yikes lead for Dragonite. Our Dragonite out here, not winning too many leads. We see the instant pivot into the big thick boy. The opponent stays in. Attempts to catch a Body Slam onto Slowbro. Oh no, there's no shot. We full send the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? Get that Slowbro out of here. Big boy Snorlax, not wanting to miss out on the big boom action, lands a boom of its own, and the opponent responds with Umbreon. This opponent probably thinking we had Body Slam and Superpower. Even if we did, I definitely think they should have sent out Umbreon. The opponent petrified a Snorlax, now shields up a Body Slam, and I'm in shambles already. The opponent fires off the Dark Pulse. Snorlax lives up to its nickname as the big thick boy, withstanding the damage, returning fire with the Body Slam, which to be honest does absolutely pitiful damage. I think we're quite fortunate that the opponent actually shielded Umbreon, as I think a 2-shield Charmer would be absolutely petrifying for our backline. Maybe not petrifying, just dreadful, as our backline can't really tank a hit for shit, and especially not fast move pressure. Despite landing that big boom in the mid game, we're still in somewhat of a tricky spot, as our Mewtwo is going to be completely walled by this Umbreon. So we actually opt to shield up the next Dark Pulse, return fire with the Dragon Claw, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent then pivot out into Sylveon. Heidi'NPapa show cat-like reactions, pivoting out into Mewtwo and going to fire off the Side Strike. Is Side Strike enough to knock out? Yes, it is. Get that Sylveon out of here. Back out comes Umbreon. Umbreon going to fire off a charge move. We see the instant no shield deployed. Dark Pulse, of course, massive overkill. Back out comes Dragonite. Dragonite reaching for the superpower, and we make it. And it's going to be high Umbreon by Umbreon. And Heidi'NPapa overcomes a dreadful lead and picks up a big dub. Moving on to the next one. The nightmare leads continue. Avalugg, are you serious? We see the pivot into the big thick boy, and the opponent responds with Virizion. This is even worse than the last game. Can we come back from this? We fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam doesn't do too much, as Virizion has respectable bulk. Speaking of bulk, the big thick boy isn't going to get one shot by any one move. The opponent fire off the Sacred Sword. Snorlax withstands the damage. Would have made one further Body Slams. The opponent opt to throw a charge move. Heidi'NPapa, of course, not going to shield Snorlax. This isn't a match we'll be flipping. Instead, we send out Dragonite. Can Dragonite get the farm down before the Stone Edge? I think it would have been close. The opponent actually opt not to even build up to the Stone Edge. An easy tank of the Leaf Blade. Dragonite now gets the full Dragon Breath farm down, and we've got a superpower to chuck at the return in Avalugg. The opponent not willing to shield up a superpower, instead opt to send out Mug, and Heidi'NPapa, despite losing Switch, actually has the perfect alignment. Dragonite landed the first Dragon Claw. Dragonite already at the second Dragon Claw. This is Shadow and Shadow crime. The opponent not willing to shield up Muck. Muck gets farmed down, and we see the instant pivot into Mewtwo. And we're going to see Mewtwo versus Avalugg in the 2-shield. We see the instant shield deployed, blocking the incoming crunch. We see no debuff, which of course is always helpful when you're running a glass cannon. Heidi'NPapa massively over farming, building up to a potential Focus Blast and throwing the Side Strike. Side Strike forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Mewtwo says there's plenty more of where that came from. Throws the second Side Strike. The Side Strike goes unshielded. Holy, and just like that, this game's over. The opponent probably thought it's only a Side Strike. I'm going to save my shield, but trainer, this is a Shadow Mewtwo. You need to respect everything. We come in with Dragonite, get the Dragon Breath farm down, and take that game. Dragonite into Poliwrath. This Poliwrath running Mud Shot. However, they build to 6, so they possibly don't have Ice Punch or Icy Wind. They only take 5 Mud Shots. But I think we need to respect this. It's double super effective. We see the instant shield deployed. The opponent throw the Scald, so perhaps they're baiting, or perhaps they've got Dynamic Punch Scald, a moveset I used to run before we got access to Legacy Counter. The opponent once again farms to 6, play to a CMP tile. They do not win. Dragon Claw forces a Protect Shield. Tough decision to make. We're going to call no Ice Punch or Icy Wind. The opponent throw the Dynamic Punch. Dragonite withstands the damage, gets the Dragon Breath farm down. The opponent now sends out Trevenant. We did get our attack lowered by the Scald, but this Dragon Claw and Dragon Breath combination is still going to hurt. Dragonite lands the Dragon Claw. Trevenant already below half health. The opponent does get a huge Shadow Claw farm down, but this energy isn't going to be all that useful when we show him the big thick boy. I expected the opponent to pivot, but instead they opt to stay in, throw the Seed Bomb, which is a pretty trash move. Okay, the opponent actually threw the double resisted Shadow Ball. So if you're a newer battler, you definitely need to learn your typing resistances. Normal, double resist, Ghost, but either way, Snorlax was in an advantageous spot. The opponent just did us a huge favour. The opponent's final Pokemon is Tentacruel once again. We full send the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? Earthquake goes unshielded. Heidi'NPapa just staying in with Snorlax, looking to get off as much damage as possible. The opponent opt to throw a charge move. We see the instant no shield deployed. Acid Spray actually doesn't knock us out. We pivot into Mewtwo. Mewtwo's going to Psycho Cut farm down, and we're going to take that game. In the next battle, we see some very nice spice. Roserade. This is a dreadful matchup for the opponent. We're absolutely tearing the opponent apart with our Dragon Breath. Just 12 Dragon Breaths have almost got them down to half health. We fire off the Dragon Claw, forcing a protection. Roserade does have access to Dazzling Gleam. And as they shielded, I imagine they're looking to get it off. We see the instant no shield deployed. And this time it's us getting boomed. Dazzling Gleam absolutely vanquishes us. Back to our Pokeball. We send out Snorlax. Snorlax gets the Lick Farm down. What is the opponent going to send out to greet our Snorlax with residual energy? The opponent send out Greninja. So we're very happy to see Greninja here, as Mewtwo can only hit this thing for resisted. The opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon. Snorlax withstands the damage, returns fire with the Body Slam. We threw it instantly, so for good timing ideally you'd like to throw 2 licks, but either way I think Snorlax is sitting in a pretty good spot. We're able to reach the next Body Slam, which will either force the opponent's final protection or the knockout. The opponent opt to shield Greninja. The opponent also doesn't overfarm, opting to throw instantly, so the instant no-shield deployed Hydro Cannon secures the knockout, and we've now got a 2-shielded Mewtwo versus the world. Greninja is going to outpace to the Night Slash, which of course we are going to shield. Dark does double resist Psychic, however the opponent's so low that even a double resisted Side Strike is going to secure the knockout. What does the opponent have in the back? Can it beat Mewtwo? The opponent's final Pokemon is Skeledirge. Ghost types are supposed to counter Psychics. However, this trainer is in for a surprise as Shadow Ball gonna one-shot. GG's and thanks for playing. Shadow Mewtwo claims another victim. In the next battle, we see Lucario. Holy cow, I don't think I've seen a Lucario in the Ultra League since about Season 6. The opponent throw after only 5 counters. This can only be a power-up punch. Heidi'NPapa's been to school and we see the instant no-shield deployed. Despite us being a flying type, these counters are now really starting to chunk. Heidi'NPapa overfarms, opts to throw the Dragon Claw bait. Dragon Claw forces a Protect Shield. The opponent once again throws the power-up punch. Again, we see the no shield. It looks like Lucario can actually win this in the 2-shield, going straight power-up punch, which is pretty ridiculous. Doesn't look like we'll make a superpower, so he opts to throw the Dragon Claw. Is Dragon Claw enough to knock out? I guess we'll never know as the opponent choose to 2-shield their lead. Heidi'NPapa now sends out Mewtwo with a 2 to no shield advantage. Holy cow, look at these boosted counters. Mewtwo, you're supposed to resist these counters. We fire off the Side Strike, not even wanting to tank a power-up punch. Side Strike, massive overkill. The opponent then sends out Giratina. We pivot into the big thick boy and the opponent opt to stay in. Despite the licks hitting for super effective, most Snorlax run Body Slam and superpower to Giratina would actually double resist the usual moveset. The opponent land the Dragon Claw, then pivot out into a Charm Clefable. We get some lag, fire off the Body Slam. It looks like the opponent got a free Charm, but Snorlax is pretty thick and doesn't really give a shit. Body Slam does some reasonable chip damage. Heidi'NPapa looking to go for the hard-hitting Earthquake, looking to get this Clefable out of here. Is Earthquake enough to knock out? Yes, it is. Back out is going to come Giratina. Heidi'NPapa still has 2 Protect Shields, and where do you use these? Snorlax is going to start shielding. Luckily for us, we do double resist the fast move. However, Snorlax is rapidly running out of HP. Heidi'NPapa now going to burn the final protection. It's going to be a race. Can we reach the Earthquake before the next Dragon Claw? No, we can't, but stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We use Mewtwo this time as the 3rd shield. Dragon Claw isn't lethal. The opponent gets the Shadow Claw farm down. Back out comes Snorlax. We reach the Earthquake. And Heidi'NPapa is going to take another big win. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we lead Dragonite into Galvantula. A pretty neutral lead. Most Galvantulas opt to throw the lunge. We've seen Heidi'NPapa loves to go for the no shield. We see the instant no shield deployed. Does this opponent full send the discharge? No, they don't. They masturbate like an absolute potato. Dragonite might be glassy, but lunge isn't going to get the job done. We fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw goes unshielded. The opponent recognises they're going to get farmed down. Pivot out into Charizard, and we respond with the big thick boy. The opponent farms up to what could be a Blast Burn. Are we going to see another poor defenseless cat lose its life? No, the opponent this time full send the Blast Burn, but Snorlax withstands the damage, returns fire with the Body Slam. Body Slam forces a protection. The opponent's still going to need to throw or make another Body Slam. Interestingly enough, Heidi'NPapa this time opt to shield Snorlax, looking to either get all shields down or just get Charizard out of here. Let's see what the opponent wants to do. Snorlax reaches the Body Slam. Is the opponent willing to invest that final Protect Shield? No, they're not. Snorlax is just going to be free farm. Whatever the opponent sends out, they send out Galvantula. We send back out Dragonite. The Dragon Breath takes them out. The opponent's final Pokemon is Jellicent. Oof, Mewtwo doesn't want to see this. We fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw goes unshielded, and we see the pivot into Mewtwo. Mewtwo continuing to farm up. I think we're going to have to respect the Shadow Ball. Of course, the opponent lightly baits. They do throw the Surf. Mewtwo then throws one Psycho Cut and the Side Strike for optimal fast move timing. Side Strike forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Mewtwo going to be able to outpace to the next Side Strike. You know the drill. It's going to be high Jellicent, by Jellicent. Mewtwo is a Jellicent counter confirmed. Heading into the next battle. Giratina Origin. A good lead for our Dragonite as these Dragon Breaths are going to tear through the opponent. Heidi'NPapa goes straight for the Dragon Claw, putting early shield pressure on the opponent. Dragon Claw forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. The opponent builds to 7. This could be a Shadow Ball, but we see the instant no shield deployed. Oof, the opponent nuke us. We can now send out Snorlax. And unless the opponent's got Dragon Pulse, we're going to double resist absolutely everything. The opponent doesn't build to a Dragon Pulse, so Snorlax is going to get a huge lick farm down. Ominous Wind actually heals Snorlax, the opponent, then save Giratina. So I've got no idea why you wouldn't just pivot instantly and send out Talonflame. We fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam lands for respectable chip damage. Heidi'NPapa actually doesn't opt to throw the next Body Slam. Instead, opting to shield discharge move. Probably continue to lick and then put this thing into Body Slam range. I like this play. Heidi'NPapa does overfarm. Fire off the Body Slam. The opponent actually chooses to invest their final Protect Shield. The opponent then loses track of Snorlax's energy, allowing us to make one further Body Slam. Get that Talonflame out of here. We see the instant pivot into Mewtwo. Holy cow, look at the Shadow Claw damage from Gengar. The opponent doesn't make a catch, so Side Strike will be securing the knockout. Giratina's pretty low and should die to 1 or 2 Psycho Cuts, and we manage to take that game. Great lead, Dragonite into Swampert, unless the opponent's got a Sludge Wave, of course, but one Sludge Wave won't be enough to knock out the opponent. Continue to stay in. Don't build up to a Sludge Wave. This is going to be an easy tank of the Hydro Cannon. I say easy. Let's not kid ourselves. Hydro Cannon's an absolutely busted move. Dragonite does tank it though in the green and return fire with the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw forced to Protect Shield. Holy cow, what does his opponent have in the back? Heidi'NPapa recognising Dragonite can easily survive the next Hydro Cannon. However, we are in danger of potentially getting sniped. The opponent continues to stay in, allowing Dragonite to make Dragon Claw number 2. Dragon Claw goes unshielded. The opponent commit a Protect Shield and lose switch. That's rough. Out comes Skeledirge, and of course we are going to greet this Crocodile with the big thick boy. The licks are hitting for super effective, and we've got that nuke potential of the Earthquake. We're going to see Heidi'NPapa shield up with Disarming Voice. I stand corrected, the opponent's actually running Crunch. They then pivot into Poliwrath, and we respond with Mewtwo. The opponent is going to outpace to the Icy Wind. Heidi'NPapa chooses to invest a Protect Shield. We can just outpace to the double Side Strike. Even after a debuff, I don't think Poliwrath will withstand the damage. The first Side Strike forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Moment of truth time, Poliwrath. Is that debuff going to save you from the wrath of Shadow Mewtwo? Side Strike lands and is still massive overkill. Back out comes Skeledirge. Can we put the icing on the cake with the Shadow Ball? No, we die at the move. An argument could have been made just to throw the Side Strike and then give Snorlax an easy lick farm down. But when you invest 2 Elite TMs into your Shadow Mewtwo, you may as well try and throw the Shadow Ball. Are we now going to lose this game? Can Snorlax survive one further Crunch? Yes, we can. On minimal HP, we reach the Earthquake, and we still manage to take that game. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the final battle of the video, we see yet another Crocodile in the lead. A pretty good matchup for Dragonite, although the opponent probably has Disarming Voice. The last opponent didn't, but most do. We farm up, throw the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw forces a Protect Shield. The opponent continuing to farm up. No, the opponent gets super greedy. Playing to the CMP type, they do not win, and that's going to force both Protect Shields in the lead. The opponent actually just completely sacked the Crocodile and then concede the match. A bit of a strange game, but I'm sure we've all done it. GG's to that opponent. So huge shout out to Heidi'NPapa, showcasing the power of double legacy Shadow Mewtwo. That was so much fun. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.